Welcome back, everyone. I'm Michelle Briggs, your host for Your Personal Real Estate. Our next guest today is TJ Hilscher. Now, he's one of the owners of HG Home Inspections. I've worked with him. I know exactly the company. How are you doing, TJ?
Doing great. How about yourself, Michelle?
I'm doing wonderful. Welcome back. Thank you
Thank you.
so much for being here again with us. Now, today we're going to be talking about commercial inspections. I know that a lot of your business is the residential piece, but there's so much more to you that I don't think a lot of people know. So I want to have a conversation about commercial inspections and really understanding them and what you do and which type of buildings that you do and what is it commercial inspection, what all is entailed. So where do we start with commercial inspections?
Commercial inspections is probably one of the most interesting areas of real estate that we deal with because a commercial building can be so many different things. I mean, when you think about commercial, a nail salon could be a commercial building, which could be a space, that's 12 by 12 and a rental area. And then you also have commercial that are hotels that are 300 room hotels in downtown Houston or in downtown San Antonio. So it varies quite a bit with commercial inspections. It's probably one of the most challenging areas as an inspection company's owner and for bidding. People call us realtors, investors. They call our office and they say, "Okay, I've got a commercial property I need inspected. It's 12, it's 120,000 square feet. What is it going to cost?" And we have tons of questions when we hear something just as simple as 120,000 square feet and what is it going to cost? Because you can imagine, Michelle, being in real estate and dealing with commercial and residential yourself, that 120,000 square feet could be a bunch of hotel rooms that all have their own power panels, bathrooms, things like that. It could be apartments, or it could be a very large warehouse that's used just for storage and has a very small area for office space, say 10,000 square feet of office space. So there's a lot of questions that go into what exactly is the commercial property that you want us to inspect.
Now, when someone contacts you regarding the commercial property they want inspected and they want you to come out and provide that inspection, what are the top 5 things that they should have ready for you to be able to provide that quote or to set up the right team member to be out there to accomplish their services or what their goals are?
And I'm going to assume those are outside the regular square footage, things like that. Okay, so one we're going to ask what the current usage is of the property. And if it's currently being used, that's a big part of it because that can really affect scheduling and things like that. And then the second most important is going to be intended use of the property because that lets us know, for example, how much power they possibly might need at the property, if they're going to be doing a lot of construction of the property, or if the property meets their needs the way it sits. So those are probably some of the most important. Also, the age of the property, a little bit of its history. We really like to get as much information as we can. Unfortunately, a lot of times on the real estate, especially on the realtor's end, they don't have a whole lot of information. A lot of times, even the listing agent doesn't have much. They just know, hey, they make washers here and it's 100,000 square feet. That's all they know. A lot of times, especially in recent years, I've learned from skinning your knees and underquoting and overquoting as well, to actually go out to the property, walk the property, and have a conversation with the buyer, and sometimes, if you can, with the seller as well. If we can do those things, we can really dial in what we need for the inspection, because it's not just a matter of, like with a home, showing up with 1 or 2 or 3 inspectors according to how much square footage it is. If the building, for example, has several what we call package units on the roof, AC units, we're going to bring in an AC company and contract them to come in with us and inspect the property. Sometimes we bring in structural engineers along with us, and we build that into our quote. Elevator companies, sometimes we have to do that as well. So a lot of times it's not just my company that's coming out there. Believe me, we do know how to inspect elevators and things like that, but when you get to a certain scale, you want to bring in those professionals. So a lot of times it takes a week or two just to build the team and get the scheduling right with the team to be able to get out there and get the inspection that the buyer really wants.
I can only imagine what a 40-story building would take to inspect and how long that inspection report would be. Tell us about, because the residential side, you check the plugs, you check for GFCs, you check the light, you check, there's so many things that you check just in a residential home that's, say, 2,000 square feet. But when you're looking at a 40-story building, what is that? Where do you start? You start on the ground floor? Do you start at the top and work your way down? What does that look like?
Well, believe it or not, I usually start in both areas. I'll send part of the team upstairs, and I'll send part of the team downstairs, and then being the chief inspector on the job and the chief inspector for the company, I will walk the property, and I will the first 2 hours we're there, I will talk to every professional we have on the property and basically get their initial assessment. And then at lunchtime that first day, we'll really put together a game plan with my lead inspectors for my company to work with the contractors that we have with us to get the best inspection possible. So, for example, with a hotel or a apartment building or something of that nature, we're going to be really looking at a lot of the same things as a home, but instead of inspecting one home, we're inspecting 300 homes. So we're going to be looking for the same safety features and things like that. Manufacturing facilities, the most important thing we're looking for is it going to meet the requirement of the person purchasing it or the corporation purchasing it.
Mm-hmm. What are the top areas you're speaking to? The AC, electrical. What are the 5 top areas that you inspect when you're looking at a commercial property?
Okay, it's going to be, obviously, we're going to look at structural first. Another thing that you really have to consider in a commercial property that you don't necessarily in a individual residential property is the topography of the property. The parking lot, is it draining properly? Where's that drainage going? Is it going to a retention pond on property? Is it going to a municipal drain that's going to a bayou? Say here in Houston, a lot of it goes to bayous. Those things are one of the major differences. You're going to look at the capacity of the area that they do want climate controlled. Is it meeting that capacity? If they want to expand, that's the biggest thing. If they're wanting to really come in and change the entire property, is it feasible? And the cost analogy, that's really out of our wheelhouse, but a lot of times the people we bring in, the contractors, can really shed light for the buyer on what they're up against. And that's, really when you come down to it, when you book a commercial inspection, that's what you want to know. You want to know, is the building safe? Is it structurally sound? Where the water is going to go when it rains? How much power it's got, and if that power is going to be enough power for what you want to do. And just make sure that it's a fit. That's really a big part of our inspection is it going to fit? Because when they look at it, they assume it's going to fit, and they might have some of their experts come out and look, but they really need to know the ins and outs of what the building has already and what it's going to cost to bring it to what they want, or if it has what they already need and they just need to reconfigure. So there's a lot to it.
Now, when you have someone that is taking on a property or purchasing it and they are going to reconfigure it and they're making some changes to that, do you go back out to do a secondary inspection to make sure, again, that those changes are up to code or are exactly what they're needing?
Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. It really depends. A lot of times, if we have really savvy buyers and we have a good chance to walk the property prior to the inspection, They will bring out their contractors with them, and we'll have a discussion at the end of the inspection of what we found and what they want to do with the property. If it's in the city and they have to submit, say, in a municipality where they have to submit drawings, have city inspectors come out, things like that. In those situations, typically we're not called back out much, but occasionally they want us to come back out and just go behind the city inspectors, because let's face it, city inspectors, they do a great job, but they're there to make sure the bare minimals met. They're not really looking out for the client's best interests, or just looking out to make sure that it's done to code. So something can be done to code, but not done to what the buyer or the new owner is wanting it to be done to, or the standard that they want it to be done to.
Right. Now, TJ, let's close today with how do they get a hold of you?
Well, that's really easy. Hilscher Group LLC is our corporate name. It's HG Home Inspection. You can find us online at hghomeinspection.com. You can call our office at 281-782-7451. And we're there to help. So you can find us on social media as well. And the nice thing is we can get out there typically immediately, but with commercial property, sometimes there's some planning involved. Because, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, if it's a nail salon, we can get out there that day, inspect it, and you're done. But if you're talking about a 40, 50-story building, it might take a week, but we're going to get it done. So just give us a call. We'll get out there, and we'll give you the best inspection you could possibly get.
Wonderful. Well, again, TJ, thank you so much. We look forward to you coming back and being a part of the show and really improving and increasing our knowledge around home inspections and commercial inspections. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Michelle.
Everyone, we'll be right back after this commercial break.